Imagine standing on the deck of a tiny ship in the middle of an Atlantic storm, waves like black cliffs all around you. Your men beg you to take a safer vessel. You refuse. And as the sea swallows the ship, you call out, "We are as near to heaven by sea as by land." Those were Sir Humphrey Gilbert's last words on this day, the 9th of September, 1583. I'm historian and author Claire Ridgway, and today we're diving into the life of a man who embodied the blazing ambition of Elizabethan England. An explorer, a polemicist, a ruthless soldier, and a dreamer of colonies, Sir Humphrey Gilbert. Gilbert was born in 1537, the second son of Otho Gilbert of Compton in Devon and Catherine Champenoun. If his mother's maiden name rings a bell, it should. Gilbert's great aunt was Catherine or Cat Ashley or Astley, née Champenoun, governess to Princess Elizabeth. After his father's death, Gilbert's mother married Walter Ralegh of Hayes Barton, and the couple gave Gilbert a half-brother, the famous explorer Sir Walter Ralegh. Gilbert had the classic elite education, Eton, Oxford, then New Inn, and the classic Elizabethan itch to do something big. And he had useful connections to help him in this. His great aunt, who was close to the Queen and who helped him come to court, and his mentor, Sir Henry Sidney. The something big started with military service. In 1562-1563, Gilbert served under the Earl of Warwick at Newhaven, Le Havre, and won praise for his conduct there. Ireland came next, and here we meet a darker side. In 1566, Gilbert served under the Lord Deputy Henry Sidney, and by 1569 he was colonel in Munster. His campaign was brutal, even by 16th century standards. He had rebels decapitated and lined the approach to his tent with their heads, so that anyone coming to submit to him walked a gauntlet of terror. It worked militarily, but it's chilling to picture. He was knighted by Sidney in 1570, and the following year he married Anne Archer. They would have 6 sons and a daughter together. Now, Gilbert's weapon wasn't just the sword, he also used the pen. In 1566, he wrote a discourse of a discovery for a new passage to Cataya, arguing for exploration to the northwest towards a fabled passage to Asia, and for English colonisation in the New World. He also drafted a plan in the early 1570s for an academy in London to train royal wards and younger sons in matters of action, both of peace and war. It's very Gilbert, practical, energetic, forward-leaning. He sat in Parliament too, MP for Plymouth in 1571 and for Queenborough in 1572. But politics could turn rough. When Gilbert defended royal prerogative, fellow MP Peter Wentworth branded him a flatterer, a liar, and a naughty man who could change himself to all fashions but honesty. Gilbert was prevented from replying to Wentworth by the House, who shouted him down. He tried soldiering abroad again in the Spanish Netherlands in 1572. No great success there. Then came the royal green light he craved. In 1578, Elizabeth I granted him letters patent for 6 years of exploration. Gilbert sailed in the November and was back by spring 1579. Ships, money, men, so often these grand plans broke on the rocks of reality. But he didn't give up. On the 11th of June 1583, Humphrey Gilbert set out from Plymouth with 5 ships. The Delight, the Bark Raleigh, the Golden Hind, the Swallow and the Squirrel, a tiny nimble vessel that Humphrey loved and that would later be his doom. On the 5th of August he reached St John's Harbour, Newfoundland. There, on rocky ground, scattered with European fishing crews, he made a momentous gesture. He claimed St John's and all the land within 200 leagues for Queen Elizabeth. Then the sea reminded everyone exactly who was boss. On the 20th of August, Humphrey Gilbert set off for Sable Island. 9 days later, disaster. The Delight ran aground and sank. Men, charts, supplies, all gone. Gilbert wanted to press on. His shaken crews wanted to go home. They turned their prows for England. The Atlantic had other ideas. Off the Azores, a storm rose, one of those sudden, savage tempests that turn the ocean into, well, a spinning mountain range. The Squirrel, brave but desperately small, laboured in the swells. Friends begged Humphrey Gilbert to shift to the larger Golden Hind, but he refused. He chose to stay with the Squirrel. As the storm raged, witnesses on the Golden Hind saw him sitting in the little ship's stern with a book in his hand, calling across the dark, "We are as near to heaven by sea as by land." On the 9th of September 1583, the Squirrel vanished into the night and the waves. It was the end of Sir Humphrey Gilbert. Gilbert was both visionary and violent. He could argue for academies and northwest passages and stage psychological warfare with several heads. He could win a knighthood in Ireland yet be shouted down in Parliament. He could dream of English colonies and die for that dream in a storm hundreds of miles from his home. He never saw a successful English settlement take root. But his patent, his arguments, and his example fed the momentum that his half-brother, Sir Walter Ralegh, and later ventures in Virginia and beyond would carry forward. So, on this day in 1583, a small ship called the Squirrel went down, and with it one of the Elizabethan age's boldest figures. Was he a hero, a brute, or a kind of messy mixture typical of his age? I'd love to hear what you think. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the Elizabethan explorer's life, please like the video, subscribe and ring the bell for more Tudor stories. And if you want even more Tudor content, for example a Zoom discussion each month and a monthly magazine, then do consider joining my channel membership on YouTube. See you soon. Bye bye.